right, clap, and let's welcome Chris and Preston to the stage.
Thank you so much for coming, guys.
All right.
Yeah. We're so excited to be here with you guys. We have a booth over here, wonderful demos. We're going from top to bottom about our AI suites. A couple use cases. We've already had a lot of interesting conversation with third-party ISVs. We're hoping to track some more, and this will be recorded later. If you want to refer a colleague, feel free to as well. As they mentioned, we're going to be going top to bottom of our full stack. We have some cool features coming out from actually announcing this May at Summit to extend on some of this in case you want to learn a little bit more. First off, AI, it's not magic, it's math, right? Red Hat's approach to running AI applications is treating it like a specialized workload, right? It might be a little bit more labor intensive on the CPU, memory, storage, things like that. At the end of the day, it's still an application like any other application with some special parameters, so we're definitely going to treat it as such. That's why it's so important to have an AI ML kind of application-centric platform to be able to do not only developer coding, the tooling, things like that, but as well as just innovating, creating a culture, right? We wanted to provide some intangible benefits as well, not just dollars and cents from TCO value, but also productivity cost and security complaints and some automation in the back end. So AI can actually be used to make you guys quite a bit of money. I know the low-hanging fruit is things like ChatGPT or text-to-image generation, but you can also have it kind of create tasks for you as well. You can create prompts to execute on the back end, another version of automation. So it isn't just telling you, Googling what the weather is or things like that. You can make these actually enable your business to provide a little bit more value for your applications and your customers. That's why, again, we're extending our flagship products based off of Kubernetes and Linux, our enterprise, our Red Hat Enterprise Linux OS operating system, and our OpenShift Kubernetes platform. We're extending those to AI now. And again, this is all based off of open source, so where a company might not be able to trust perhaps an upstream version of some of these components, things like Jenkins or KVM, things like that, we provide SLA support, enterprise-grade integration for you guys to be able to trust that inside your actual data centers or even at the edge. We've extended these from top to bottom all the way from the edge to telco to automotive to all kinds of special use cases. So again, we're talking about the full application, the full operational lifecycle for a developer, the way they interact with this code. So we're talking about how do we get started, right? How can we provide value to developers who are maybe coding at home? They don't want to spin up the cost in a data center or a cloud. These are really expensive hardware they have to use, right? So if they're able to test their actual models and use some of their local data sets to be able to train models or inference, we want to be able to have that do that on laptops. The big part of this trade show today is AI laptops. And even you as users today, if you have a small data set, whether that be in something like Excel sheets, something like that you want to test on your local laptop, we have tools for that now as well. So we're giving you a starting point to get started with an AI as a consumer, a customer, or whatever have you, whatever type of persona you have, and give you the tools that are one-click button. There's a lot of automation built into this. I mentioned our 2 flagship products. Here are some of the features that got announced last year at our Red Hat Summit in Denver, Colorado. InstructLab and Podman Desktop. So InstructLab is just like we heard in the keynote earlier, one of those open source projects that's kind of helping foster innovation, right, the open source way. There's many contributors to it. It's actually partnered with IBM, and it's based off of our Granite models, which we'll talk a little bit about here in a second. But I also wanted to highlight Podman Desktop. This has been around for quite some while, and it is supported for Windows, as well as any Linux distributions. You can pop up through like a Windows WSL kernel. You're able to pop this up as a container. And Podman really allows you to use just a regular VM or desktop to pop up a container and be able to use static workloads, right? So now you're running a container on top of your actual desktop. So a lot of customers use this in production environment, but you're able to use this on your own laptop at home. So I wanted to kind of highlight that as well. Some of the other features that we have in Red Hat Enterprise Linux AI, I won't go super deep into it. Please meet us at the booth if you want to learn a little bit more about this. But talking about IBM Granite, and this morning in the keynote, we heard that there's going to be more models that become more open source. Under the Apache license, IBM released this last year as well, and there's many versions of this coming out as well. These are available in InstructLab today. If you go to their website, you can download it locally and you can use this. And again, we're just trying to add that 10% extra sauce. We want models that are almost completely trained, almost completely fine-tuned, and just do a little bit of inferencing to them to really add your own flavor to it. Here's a great way to get started. We usually employ customers to bring your own model. We're not in the model building business, but we wanted to kind of drink our own sauce. We give you one to start with in case you want this. This is available. You're free to bring your own from Hugging Face or any other sort of third-party ISV. And again, this is InstructLab, so this is a project that you can contribute to it as well. You can go and download this locally on your desktop and actually use the IBM Granite model and train your own models on this as well. So that way you don't have to spin up costs. We're trying to reduce that cost of actually working in the data center and public cloud using those expensive cards. We can get you just as close using things like this. So you're welcome to contribute this as an individual as well. Super cool. Again, running these things locally allows developers to be able to fail quickly, be able to try new ideas locally, not spend up costs in the data centers, and be able to train these before they actually bring them to production. And using Podman, you're actually now to be able to bring a container-centric approach to workloads, where now you're running containers on your laptop, you're using these data sets, training multiple times, and now an easy exportable way onto Podman, with Podman onto OpenShift or OpenShift AI, RHEL AI as well. Again, Podman Desktop, this is a GUI you can install, whether it be on your Windows computer, any Unix, based system, Linux-based system. And they have extensions as well in their own catalog. So they have, whether you're using a VPN for, we have certain company constraints, things like that. Has plenty of extensions. It has its own ecosystem, but this, again, comes featured in Red Hat Enterprise Linux AI. Lets you run containers locally and train that sort of thing on your laptop. They also have, as of recently, an AI function as well with some extra plugins. So it gives you some prompts to get started with. It's really more like a guide, right, to get you off the ground in case you have no idea what you're doing, brand new to this. It gives you some good steps to kind of get started right away. Some of the cool things that we wanted to put there. So again, we're talking about from the laptop all the way to data center, and the most cost-effective way to do that, and using, again, open source technology, the work other people have already done, and just adding your secret sauce to it. We really want to employ people to be able to do that. I'm going to go ahead and hand this off to one of our best, Preston, here, to talk about once we're in the data center and what kind of workloads we do there.
Awesome. Thank you. Yes. Hi, everyone. Before I get started, there's a couple of call-outs that I want to make. I'd like to really call out the fact that we've worked very tightly with Intel to develop almost all of the work that you're seeing here today. We are not a company that just focuses on one provider. So yes, we have worked very closely with Intel. We've worked closely with others as well. I'm calling out the Intel work because Intel has released quite a few things recently. They also have a good GitHub repository that has a lot of examples. A lot of these examples work on the products that you're seeing here. All right, so I just wanted to call that out up front. With that said, let's go ahead and get started with what happens in the data center. So from a RHEL AI perspective, RHEL AI, think of it as your entryway into the enterprise. With RHEL AI, you have the ability of, number one, having a known trusted source that works with all vendors. If you're looking for something that's already been certified, already been validated, that most vendors will already actually use or provide support for, RHEL AI is it. And within RHEL AI, we have several items going from the model servers all the way up to the storage. All of this is key and core to the RHEL AI platform. The reason why this is so important is because when we get to Openshift AI, which is our enterprise grade Kubernetes environment, Openshift AI is built off of RHEL AI, right? So if we start with a core component that's already known, trusted, and in the market, we build on top of that with Kubernetes, and we provide all of the additional flavors for Kubernetes that you would come to know and expect. Then from that perspective, we're able to provide more for you. OpenShift, RHEL AI, these are all known Red Hat products. These are products that we provide and have been providing forever. However, with these two products, we provide two different models that you should be aware of. The first model is one that is very curated. The curated model is targeted for those who are brand new to this process, those who are looking to get started, all right? That curated model has training, it has reference architecture, it has a lot of documentation that supports it, as well as live examples in order to get you started. For those of you who are beyond that point, for those of you who have been in this market for a while, then the same two products actually allow you to integrate your known existing tools or to use, again, our curated model, your choice, all right? We don't lock you into any one thing because our objective is not to provide a lock. Our objective is to provide you with tools in order for you to be able to accelerate your business. That's our delivery product. That's our target. So when we start looking at what we actually use, again, going back to the keynote you heard previously, and going back to the Red Hat business model, we are all about open source. Open source is our foundation. That's how we started, right? So with the open source model, what you're looking at here is, again, a opinionated approach. These are the tools that we include out of the box for you. You can turn around and use any of these as you wish, right? If you want to have a curated environment that you can turn around and just run as is, this is what you get out of the box. If you want to supplement anything that you have in here, anything that we have listed with tools that you already have on site or processes that you've already built, then that's easy to do as well. The number one key factor that we want you to understand here is that even though we provide you with a curated approach, this is 100% flexible for you to be able to use as you see fit, right? We're not locking you into any one thing. We're not telling you this is the only way to make sliced bread, right? I don't even like sliced bread. But either way it goes, this is one of the ways to get you started, right? Moving on from here, we also provide pipelines that allow you to have your entire GitOps lifecycle, your AI lifecycle, included inside of your enterprise deployments. If you already have a CI/CD pipeline, if you already have your AI deployment wheelhouse that you want to continue to use, we make that easy. But if you don't have one and you need help getting started, we make that easy as well. Right? Again, all of these are templated inside of OpenShift and can be modified simply by editing a YAML file. When we start going through and we start looking at you using or deploying or doing training or inferencing, all of the tools that you need in order to do this are built into the OpenShift and OpenShift AI environment. This is not a question of what should I do, how should I do it, where should I do it. All of the tools are there. So the real question becomes, what do you want to do with it? It's more of a question about what your creativity will allow for you to do, as opposed to whether or not my tool set will allow me to be able to do this work, right? So as we go on from here, we start looking at our base notebooks and we start looking at our build process. All of these things are things that, again, are standard in the industry, right? One of the problems that we tend to run into a lot is that with clients who are very deeply inside of their AI roadmap, they're going through and they have all of these things that they want to use, but they don't know the exact tool set, or there's a problem with maintenance modification simply because things change as they get updates. We provide the fix for that simply because it's built into our product. From Podman AI, OpenShift, InstructLab, RHEL, all of these things include the modifications and the tool sets that you need, so that when you get in and you want to run your workloads, you want to start playing with your repositories, creating your models, everything becomes as easy as drag and drop, right? We simplify this from a developer's perspective because your developers do not need to be operations specialists, right? They need to develop, right? So we want to make sure that that's easy. And we want to make sure that when you're looking through and you're trying to understand what models are available, or what's the next hottest thing in the market, or where can I go to get some examples about, you know, this one idea that I have and I want to reference, you know, something that someone else has already started. All of this is built into our product, right? We're not trying to keep you locked in. We're trying to provide you with a one-stop shop in order to provide all of the tools and all of the things that you need, right? That's a simple way of looking at it. And of course, you can't provide the tooling set. You can't provide all of the services that you need without providing some layer of monitoring. You need to be able to track and understand when my GPUs are being targeted, how much are they actually consuming? What power am I using, right? What are my workloads? How busy am I at X time of the day? Can I generate reports on this? We provide all of that inside of the OpenShift platform. It's also included in RHEL. It's also included in Podman. What we're showing right now is the OpenShift side of the house, but again, this is universal to the Red Hat stack. Right? So again, as we go through and we start looking at your distributed workloads, your ability to scale and to scale globally, not just on-prem, not just in the cloud, but hybrid for both, right? When we're looking at this, we provide you with the capabilities to know exactly what your targets are going to be, right? If you have questions about what I'm doing in any one location, or how can I make use of any one targeted resource, right? We provide you with that capability to be able to isolate from within the OpenShift environment the monitoring for your resources and your workloads. Again, we're looking at a journey here, all right? So just to be clear, part of this journey is understanding, number one, what tools you have. Second part of this journey is understanding, number two, how you can use those tools to create and to use the objects that you want to build. Number three, how do you provide monitoring for this? Number four, can I actually use this live in order to be able to meet my needs to provide my services that I want to deliver or sell to my downstream clients. These are our targets for our build process. This is our focus behind our entire portfolio, right? So when we get into, again, just pulling it all together, it makes this really simple, right? So if you're doing manufacturing, if you're doing starships and enterprises, we provide the services in order to cover all of these things, right? But again, we provide these services for you to be able to use as you see fit. If you need to replace something, you have that ability, right? So getting back to our partnership with Intel, the reason why we wanted to, or the reason why I started off speaking about our joint collaboration, our tight integration there, is because the OpenShift, RHEL, Podman, AI, all of these tools work wherever Intel works. And we're not talking about just Gaudi, we're talking about Xeon, we're talking about Core Ultra, we're talking about the entire stack. So as we go through, anywhere that you want to run, we are there. Anywhere that Intel will actually provide some kind of hardware in order to provide acceleration or capabilities, we work with. We sit on top of that stack with our software. And within this software, we provide the ability for you to go through and provide your own packaging layer. So when you're talking as an ISV about being able to build a process and sell it to your downstream clients, provide it to your constituents, you have access to all the tools, right? You're not blocked by any one thing. This is very critical to understand because, again, the focus is to be where you are. We want to meet you in your home. Where you live, where your data lives, that's where we want to provide you service. So as we move on and go through all of this, again, I just want to call out that, number one, it was extremely fun working with Intel. We spend too much time with them already. I think we're actually related by now. Number two, I want to call out that we do have several examples or several ways for you to get this software and test it out. All of this is no cost, right? So please scan the QR codes. You can download 60-day trials of our enterprise software, our local software. Podman is free. You can run that forever and a day. Mac, Windows, Linux, doesn't really matter. And also, one more thing, which we don't have a slide for, we'll be doing a 1,000 POC initiative that we're going to talk about later on. You'll hear about this in, is it not in there? Yeah. Okay. Oh, it is at the bottom. Okay. So we'll be doing a 1,000 POC initiative where we're going to open up the environment to allow people to hop in and actually kick the tires and see real world scenarios of how you can actually accelerate your business. This is going to be live. This is going to be available for everyone later 2025. So please be aware of that. We'll make some announcements. Intel will make some announcements. Just be prepared. And with that, thank you.
All right, really quick, let's give a round of applause. Yes, thank you both. What questions do you have? We have a couple minutes if anyone has any burning questions that they have. Yes, here, wait, I'm gonna have you speak in the mic.
Thank you, Ron Westphal, Futurum. Just curious, working with others, have you had to deal with prompt poisoning protection? Has that been part of the mix at this juncture? Thank you.
Very good question. And yes, we have. So to level set, when we talk about the Red Hat products, we're talking about all of our verticals, all of our industries. We're heavy in telco, we're heavy in government, we're heavy in commercial. So part of our government side has already had to deal with prompt poisoning. We offer several tools for this. There's a lot that we provide, everything from confidential containers all the way up to security stance and validation of that security stance. Originally, that was based off of Nessus and just the scans for that. And of course, that's been updated to reflect today's modern workload. So we're very familiar with it. And yeah, we can help you with that.
Nice, great question. One more.
So I'll ask a question on behalf of my customers, my accounts. I'm with Red Hat, but this question comes up quite often. What does Red Hat have in terms of managed offerings? So you mentioned from RHEL AI to OpenShift, but my customers don't want to manage the infrastructure. They want Red Hat to take care of it. So this question comes time and time again. So
right.
If you could answer that, that'd be
So
Really
that's actually another fantastic question. And the reason why it's fantastic is because Red Hatters, we are very notorious for talking about our products. We are not notorious about talking about our services. So good question. As far as managed services, we have several. So we have a hosted environment that Red Hat actually manages and controls. That's OpenShift Dedicated. All right, it's a paid-for subscription service. You go to the website, you sign up, you tell us how large you want your workloads to be, or how many nodes or how many users you're expecting. We provide you with a service for that you can bill monthly or yearly. Outside of OpenShift Dedicated, we also have Rosa, which runs on AWS, which is a hosted environment, which has SREs that manage it from both AWS as well as Red Hat. We also have the exact same thing for Azure, right? We are currently building, I don't have an answer yet on if we have that ready for GovCloud or not, but I know that that's in the works. All right?
Any other questions? Okay. Thank you all. Let's give one more round of applause for these two gentlemen. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Woo!